Hi there! Today I am going to talk about two very special movies. Yes, they are both classic movies and they are also fascinating kind of movies. Why? You're going to discover it with me, okay? So please uh, watch my video and give me your positive feedback in the end or not. Okay, see ya. Hi guys, how are you? Today I am going to talk about two different movies, but they are very related to one another. Yes, and they are old movies. Not old movies, but they are classic movies. I want to talk about them because we had the International Women's Day and I didn't do any special thing like a movie review related to this special day. So I did just a short video, just to celebrate it, to celebrate this date. But I was thinking about movies, related to women and their questions about, in general, our everyday, and not only about it, but about our desires and yes, when we talk about cinema, we have a lot of movies that talk about the women and how we can be, presented uh, in society and in, at home and in our relationships with our partners, okay? But we have a lot of movies that talk about it. But I was thinking about the classic ones, because nowadays, we can say that we have more freedom, to be ourselves. But talking about women nowadays is not just talking about women, but it's talking about everything related to this, to this theme, because we are a theme, we are a subject of study, because many things happened since we started to vote and we were, we were more open. Not that we were more open, I want to say that we start to speak up, Many things happened and they are still happening, when we talk about modern society, postmodern society, and the society that we live nowadays, 2020, many different issues. And when I was thinking about it, I I saw a movie, you know. First of all, uh, this actress, Joan Crawford, uh, she's, you know, in her time, she was like, she was the everything that you could imagine of a powerful woman, you know. She was that kind of woman, in Hollywood, in her movies, because she had a very strong presence and her voice and her manners. So she was this, strong woman, And we have on the other side, some women that are represented in a very soft, kind, and dollish way, So we kind of have this opposites, like a woman can be strong, but a woman can be dollish, but they can't be both. No, yeah, they can be both, And so in the forest, we start to see, in the in this process of filmmaking, we start to see this kind of female character that is not only sweet and very tamed, you know what I mean? But we also start to see a woman that is strong and sometimes a little bit aggressive, but she is at the same time sweet, She can be both, She's not one thing or another anymore. She can be both, depending on the occasion. And Joan Crawford, she was remarkable because she could reveal, all these qualities, that a woman possesses in a very realistic way. An excellent actress, remarkable one, a remarkable one, And I was watching, there is a couple of time, a couple of days that I was watching. The name in Portuguese is totally different. The name is, I always have to look at my notes, because, the name in Portuguese is very different. It's Caminho da Redenção, okay? If you want to look for it in Portuguese, it's Caminho da Redenção. But in English, the name of the movie is very representative. In Portuguese too, we can understand why they use this name in Portuguese. But in English, the name is Flamingo Road. And Flamingo Road is so interesting because it's the name of a road. And you think, oh, why this, this title, Flamingo Road, Flamingo Road. And Flamingo Road in this movie is a very important place, It's not any kind of road, it's the road, It's the place where very wealthy people, upper class live, And it's interesting that they have this name related to this animal, flamingo, a flamingo, and it is very symbolic, And I was thinking about these things about birds and animals, and then I remembered, there is another movie very, very good, because we are talking about Hitchcock now. And this director, everybody loves him. Yeah, he is the master of, of horror movies, of thrillers, And there is a movie that is called The Birds, And the birds, again, we have the birds. And in Portuguese is the same name, os pássaros. And the same name that we have in English, the translation was, they didn't modify, the name. So this movie is in the 60s and Flamingo Road is in the 40s. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, from that time, in the 30s, we have a very delicate kind of women, a little bit witty, but not so aggressive, Witty, yes. But in this, from when we start this decade, the 40s, we start to see that women now is played by very strong women, and they are not one thing anymore. They can show their weakness, but they can also show their strength. And it's fantastic because these two movies, they are very connected to each other. If you think about the birds, the thing that they use, this animal, flamingo, the birds, and then I start to be I was curious about that. I was like, okay, is there is there any kind of hidden symbolism, about birds that I don't know? And yes, they are very representative, and there is this archetype of birds and their meanings, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. And then I started to think about both of, about these two movies together, like one is in the 40s, the other one is in the 60s, but they have this thing about women, and they both of them, they talk about a woman that is very strong in her opinions, in her attitude, and she goes to a place where people don't want her there because she is different from the other girls, she is a force of nature, and people don't want her there because she's like an earthquake, everything that she does is very, it shocks the community, the society from that place. And I was like, oh gosh, it's very, it was very intriguing, in fact, because I think that we, and now I'm talking about you, girl, you girls, we in our lives, in our lives, we have moments that we feel that we are not so. Let me say it in a different way, okay? Sometimes, if you are a very if you are a woman that is very communicative, or if you have a strong presence because of your manners, or because of the way you like to wear your clothes, or because of your personality, or because of some kind of behavior, you are still nowadays, uh, you can be seen as a uninvited person, like, what's going on with that girl? She is so flashy. You know what I mean? And these two movies, they talk about it in a very good way, very good. Hitchcock was here, he talks about this, this contrast, using this element of the birds, and we have the same thing happening in, what's the name of the director, Michael Kurtz, when he talks, when he used this figure of the Flamingo Road, we have this ideal perspective of a place where people are flamingos, and the flamingos, they are very symbolic, and Joan Crawford in this movie as Tippi Hedren in the Birds, they are this kind of women that people don't want them to speak up. People don't want them to be themselves, to be themselves. That's what I want to say. To be themselves, themselves, to express their selves. Are you understand what I'm trying to say? They are this kind of women that their presence is so strong that the place that they are living, or that they are going to, in this case, they are going to a place, the people there, they are like, oh, she's too much for us, She's going to disturb our peaceful, everyday, and common life, Yes, that's so interesting, And then I start to research about it, The symbolisms of these birds and all the representation, if you want to use this word, or what they seem, what is connected to the use of these elements, of these birds, And then I was amazed because they really talk about it, And then oh, that's so interesting, I didn't know that, so I found out, and I was like, oh, that's a good point, Bird, I didn't know that in the 60s, the word woman was could be associated to the word bird. So when you were talking about a woman, you could use the word bird instead of using woman. And I was like, oh, now I got it. Hitchcock, you are very good, man. Because I was like, okay, so he's really talking about it, He's really talking about about women, But he was so smart that he used a kind of slang from this time, from the 60s, because it could sound like the birds, like the women, or it could sound like no, he's just talking about birds, and that's it, because in the movie we have this bird attack, and you can think now that the movie when we have a bird attack, we are having a women's attack, you know. And in the movie, we have this element all the time because we have the mother, we have Tip's role, you know, her name in the movie is, oh, I gotta see this. Oh, I forgot. Melanie. Okay, so we have Melanie, and we have the mother. You know, the figure of the mother. We have the handsome guy. You know, and we also have the ex-girlfriend, you know, and all these women, you know, the mother, ex-girlfriend, and the actual, you know, not the actual, but Melanie, you know, because she's not the girlfriend. She wants to be. They kind of start a relationship, and she became the girlfriend. But we have like these three women, and they are not friends, you know. They kind of have they don't stand each other very way. They don't stand each other in a good way, you know. They kind of don't like, they are not fond of one another, you know. Because the mother is she's a strong woman, but the sense that she wants to keep her son as her baby forever, you know. You know, this kind of mother. Okay, let's not talk about it. Okay, I'm kidding. But we know this kind of mother. Okay, yeah, everybody knows about it. And we have the ex-girlfriend that she is like, oh, that's your new girlfriend. Okay. You know, this kind of attitude. And then we have Melanie, Tip Hedren, that is the new girl, okay? And she's very, you know, she's smart, she's elegant, she's intelligent, and she talks she talks in a way that she doesn't want to feel in a lower position, you know. She wants to feel good, you know, about herself because she sees herself as a powerful woman. She understands the game, you know, the society, and how she can handle that, you know, in a way that she will be successful. And we see that in the movie. In the beginning of the movie, we have she's in a pet store, and you know, the handsome guy, you know, Mitch, okay, he thought that she was working there, and he wanted some love birds, okay, yeah, love birds, and then he wants to buy them to give it as a gift, and then she realizes that, you know, that he's thinking that I am working here. Okay, I will play your game, you know, I will play this game, and because he is you know, he's this kind of guy that I like it, and I will play this game because it will be good for me, okay? So she's this kind of woman, you know. It's not that she's a bad girl, no. She just understands how things goes on, you know. And at the same time, you know, when we talk about Flamingo Road, this movie, you know, the character, you know, Joan's character, she has the same mindset, you know, because she's a woman that worked at a carnival show, you know, and she knows that woman at that time, you know, who worked at a carnival show, oh Jesus, you know, they were considered, I don't want to say the word, but you know what I am talking about. It was in the 40s, and we know. And then she knows that, they consider me, you know, uh, okay, you know what I want to say, but I'm not going to say the word because, YouTube and their rules, so. Okay, but you understand, she has this, she knows that her work was not considered a good girl kind of job, But she understands that, okay, that's what I was doing. I was working at a carnival show, but I am not what they think that I am just because I work here. I am more than this. I am smart enough to know my own value, and I'm not going to work here anymore, and I'm going to look for a better kind of life because I deserve it. Not because I think that working at a carnival show is is something that I should be horrified about it. But no, I want a new life because I deserve it, because I am more than what people may think of me. And this is fantastic because we have the same mindset, These two women, they have this strong, it's not only personality, but they have this strong sense of I am worthy. And this is something that in the 40s and in the 60s, in both movies, it's something that people are so afraid of it, In both movies, they're so afraid of it. It's like they are these kind of birds that you cannot domesticate them, You cannot tame this kind of birds, this kind of women. It's impossible to put them on a cage and say, okay, chill, it's impossible because they are this force of nature, they have this capacity to stand for, to stand, to be what they want to be because they know that they are worthy, And of course, in both movies, they're going to pass through a lot of difficulties because people, they are going to confront her. They are going to confront her. There, in fact, because I'm talking about two women, they are going to confront their style of life, their manners. They are going to confront them, and it could be just verbally or even physically. In both movies we have this. They pass through difficulties, and there are some men in these movies, that they, when they look at these two women, they feel very, very frightened. They feel that they are, oh, wait a minute, I am the man here. What are you doing? What the, like this. And they don't want them to be what they are, and because they are, this, they are these kind of birds that can attack you, if they need to do it, Yeah, okay. So it's very interesting, and there are some things that I want to highlight here, some topics, So, in the case of Flamingo Road, Caminho da Redenção in Portuguese, which is a very, it's already Caminho da Redenção. If you look for the word redenção in Portuguese, okay, it's the same as it's what we say in English. We could say, I don't want to say the word, but I want to say the feeling. It's when you have a lot of things, you have a lot of issues, and you, in the end of your struggle, you feel saved. So that's the moment that you feel redemption, that, oh my goodness, now I have passed through a lot of difficulties. I feel protected now. I feel that I am saved, and I feel that I have accomplished something. I think that this is the feeling, of redemption. It could be deeper than this, but I'm just giving you a very simplistic explanation. So we have in this movie Lane Bellamy, Joan Crawford, Fielding, Mr. Fielding. Mr. Fielding, Zachary Scott, was done by Zachary Scott, and he's the handsome guy here, in this movie. Yes, we have the girl that is outcasted, and then we have the handsome guy, and now we have I'm not going to say the bad guy, but the opposite side, of the opposite side. Because if you think that these kind of women represent one side of the story, now we have the opposite side, the side that doesn't want these women to be what they are, So we have this in the character of the Sheriff Titus. And it's so interesting, this name Titus. Because when we think about Titus, it's a strong name, Titus, if we think about the Greek mythology and we think about the Roman history, and we have the Sheriff Titus, and he's very, very, oh my goodness, in essence, he's a bad guy, in this movie, you just hate this guy, because he's completely, he only thinks about him and about what's good for him. So he doesn't think about other people. He's like a car, that is a car that, when we have this idea of somebody controlling a car, and this person doesn't know how to drive very well, and then we are afraid because a car can be a weapon and can kill people, so he is this kind of person driving, his own life, but his life is like this, destroying everybody's life, everybody's, he is this kind of guy that is destroying people along the way, like, do you have this picture in mind, this guy, his actions, they are so bad in many ways that he just cause trouble and sadness, and uh, he's the he's a mass, a mass destruction. Okay, you got it. So we have Dan Reynolds. Dan Reynolds is a very interesting character in this movie, cause he's not the handsome guy, but he's the good guy. He's the good guy. He's the guy that he does the right things. He's a little bit. He has a very passionate style in this movie. He's moved by passion, but at the same time he has good intentions. He's a good guy. And he's the guy who accepts this woman, Lane Bellamy, as the way, he's the one who is not judging her, because she is strong too. He's the guy who sees her the way she is, and he understands it. It makes him a good guy in this sense. But more than a good guy, he's a wise man, That's interesting. He's the wise guy, because he knows that that they are in the same level of they are in the same level. He doesn't need a girl who is dollish, he needs a woman. And a woman, to be a woman, she has to have a lot of she has to be more than just one thing, because that's what she is. It's impossible to be just one thing in life. We have many aspects of our personalities, and he understands it. That is a very good point, because he is the wise guy, in this movie. Not the handsome one, the one who would betray this woman because he feels afraid of her and he wants to put her in a lower position, like doing this kind of thing. But he's not the bad guy, he doesn't want to kill her and to vanish with this, this presence that she is. But he understands that it's okay, we can be we can have a connection that we don't need to be in different levels. Okay, we can be equal, and this is beautiful in this movie, because in the end, after all that happened, this character, played by Joan Crawford, she understands that guy that she was in love, the handsome one, but so silly and so, not worthy of her love, she understands that in the end, what she was looking for was a guy that could embrace her femininity, but at the same time her aggressive. But I'm saying aggressive here not as violence, but the part of her that is more is not tamed, is not it's not, he could embrace her in her total expression of her self. Okay, yes. And the director of this movie is Michael Curtis. This movie is a classic movie, you know. Flamingo Road, you know. Joan Crawford, you know, at her best, yes. And then, when we look, you know, further in Hitchcock's movie, you know, The Birds, we have a sequence of types of birds. And this is very good, okay? Pay attention now, my friends, okay? Because I was very attentive to this fact and how he used it, this symbolism, you know, in his movie. He used it so wisely that when we see the movie, we are so into the story, the events that are, you know, coming and coming and coming about, that we don't make this connection with the birds and the attacks, and what kind of birds, you know, that are attacking that city, that small, that small talk. It's a small, yeah. It's a, yeah. Is it? Yeah. Okay, I remember now. No, it's not. It's oh my goodness. It's close to the seashore. Yes, okay, I remember now. It's in Cali, California, and it's yeah, it's in the seashore because we have seagulls. Okay, so okay, again, let's restart. Then we okay, I need to drink some water, but there is a sequence. In fact, I am drinking, can you see that? Pineapple juice, okay? Okay, I'm thirsty. So, let's restart, okay? Okay. So, we have in this movie a sequence of birds, of different kinds of birds, and the way that they attack, it goes in a progressive way, that in the end we have that big, massive attack that happens in the attic. Yes, in the attic. And it was like, oh my goodness, you know, it's the shocking scene of the movie. Very well done by Hitchcock. Oh my goodness. Yes, so unsettling, but it's fantastic, you know, how he developed, you know, this progression, you know, of birds and kinds of birds. Because I have seen this movie, oh my goodness, so many times in my life, you know. I've been watching this movie for a long time, yes. Since I was a little girl, you know, I love it, you know, and I was like, oh, it's very good. It's a horror movie, it's a thriller. But of course, I was too young to understand all the elements. Because when you watch a movie from Hitchcock, you just feel, oh. But then you start to understand more about it, about the elements, about the use of the camera, about the technique, because he was a master of he is the master of the of horror movies. Although I consider some of his movies not horror, but thrillers. Okay, thrillers in the sense that uh, they are much more. They give us this feeling of oh, I am, I, this feel, you, this thing, like you feel that something is going to happen, and you feel very, disturbed about it. But not that you feel, this is too, it's gore, you know what I mean? It's not a gore movie, a gore style of movie, but it's a very, it's a movie that developed uh, uh, this feeling of feeling scared of what is going to happen. You feel, you have this suspense, and it's increasing and increasing and increasing, and then you have this shocking moment, that you feel, like, like his famous movie, there is that movie from the guy, that used to dress like his mother. Do you know what I am talking about? Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Okay. I don't need to say anything, in addition, because just with this sound, with this, this, you feel, it's so creepy. Yeah, Psycho. Oh my goodness. Psycho is fantastic. But again, you have that shocking moment when the woman, the lady, sees the guy, dressed like his mother, and then, mother, yeah. And in this movie, we have the same, the same vibe, because in the end, there is this attack, this bird attack that is so massive. And then you see Tip Hedren, oh my goodness, the birds. And yeah, it's a very good scene. But again, let's talk about the sequence of birds, and their symbolism, okay? It's very interesting. It's so interesting. So we have here, and I have a question for you, which kind of bird are you? Okay, so let's see that. Okay, so when we talk about birds in this movie, we have lovebirds, the lovebirds, they are domesticated, they are tamed, they are social, I'm talking about how people describe this kind of birds, and I'm also talking about the idea of the archetype of these birds, that we have in our society. So we understand that they are tamed, they are domesticated, they are social birds, they are so cute, love birds, yeah. And they have just one, I can say, they have just one partner, okay, for their entire life. I didn't know that, This is interesting, yeah. They have just one partner, and so they are very okay. They are very loyal, You can think loyal in the sense of, I'm not here saying, oh, if you have more than one partner in your life, it means that you're not loyal. But I'm saying loyal in the classic thought of what is loyalty. Like, they have just one partner for their entire life, and they are animals. So they are very, they are very, like, okay. And I remember a friend of mine that he asked me, oh, I'm hearing birds. I was in a phone call, and he was like, oh, I'm hearing birds from your place. Are they lovebirds? And I was like, no, they aren't. And he was like, oh, I was thinking that they were lovebirds, and I was happy because if I am talking to you, and so the lovebirds, they are all excited about, I don't know what is going on, but if they are like this, it symbolizes something. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? And then I understood later that he was saying that if the lovebirds were excited, listen to our conversation, maybe they were like, okay, you are soulmates, and I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? I didn't know about that. It's so, okay, it's we gotta have some, some some honey in our hearts. Okay. Okay, but I am not this kind of romantic, and I was like, oh, that's curious, It's interesting. So we have lovebirds, the first, as I said beforehand, he goes, the handsome guy, he goes to the lead actor, in this movie. He goes to a pet store, a pet shop. He has a pet store, and then he wants to buy lovebirds. And then I have already said about what happened, in this scene. So the first kind of birds that we have are lovebirds. And then we have the seagulls. And seagulls, they are also called seabirds. I didn't know that. Yes, it was new for me. Really, really. I am being very honest here. I didn't know. I was like, but it's interesting. Okay, my battery is a little bit, but okay, we are going to have time to do this. So we have the seabirds, The second attack was done by seabirds. And the seabirds, I didn't know. They take live food, okay? Yes, they take live food. But more than this, they like large prey. It's interesting, isn't it? So, from lovebirds that are very fragile, now we have, seagulls, seabirds that like, large prey. So the attack is increasing, okay? Not that the lovebirds attacked her, Tip Hedren, because they didn't. They are the only ones in the movie that are so, quiet, because they represent this, this feeling of love, pure love, no violence, okay? So we have the third kind of bird, sparrows. And the sparrows, it's so interesting. I didn't know that. This bird, I'm going to read this. This bird usually symbolizes joy and protection, but it can be a symbol of simplicity and community. They also symbolize teamwork and hard work. That's so interesting because when we have the sparrow attack, now it's the community, it's the representation of the community attacking that women, that kind of women, or, Tippy, attacking Tippy, attacking her character, Melanie. So now it's the community that is attacking her, because they don't like the way she is, And we have now talking about Flamingo Road, okay? If you talk about flamingo and what the flamingo represents, what they symbolize in this archetype way, we can say that it's very interesting. They represent beauty, grace, and refinement. And they also symbolize the ability of stand out, the ability of standing out. Okay, it's better. And they also symbolize something very interesting: the capacity of staying on one. Okay, I'm going to say again: the capacity to stand on one foot, if for how can I say this, without having to make a lot of effort. Okay, there is a word for this. Effortlessly. Yes, that's what I'm going to. That's what I want to say. You don't have to make a lot of force. You don't have to make a lot of. You don't need much. Yes, that's what I want to say. They can stand on one foot, without, no force at all, So this representation of standing, on one foot, with no problem, it shows that they are very refined and graceful. And another aspect, they also represents a person who is classy, outgoing, well-balanced, and resourceful in life. So they represent, in one word, the upper class of that society in that movie, Flamingo Road, Interesting, isn't it? Yes, it's very interesting. Yeah. So, to sum up, both movies, they are fantastic movies, not just because of the elements that they present us, but because of the technique, because of the cinematic elements, that they show us through their photography, through their characters, through their storylines and narratives, and how these excellent directors, Curtis and Hitchcock, how they were so, they were so sensitive to this ideal I want to say ideal, but it's not of this idealistic, yes, image of what was being a woman, you know. You can be a tamed, you know, a domestic bird, but you can also be a crazy bird attacking a city because you were so suffocated by the society and by what they want you to be, that you can go crazy, like this force of nature that destroys everything, you know, just to say, I am nature, I have the power, you know. So it's chilling, okay? Oh my goodness, it's exciting, you know, yeah. Because we can be, you know, and I'm not just talking about women, no, I am talking about boys too, you know, because there is a way that boys have to behave, you know. But especially talking about women in these movies, how fantastic, how amazing, you know, how powerful we can understand their stories, you know, and their narratives through these elements of birds, of trying to reach a place, you know, but to reach that place, like in Joan Crawford's character, she wants to live in Flamingo's Road because she knows that she's not less important than people who lives there, but she doesn't want to go there because she wants to be the rich kind of woman. No, it's because she wants to go there because she knows that she's not different from people who lives there, you know, that she's worthy of having a good life. And in the case of Hitchcock's movie, we have the same, you know. When Melanie Tip Hedren decides to go to that city, you know, to that place, to give the birds, the love birds, to that guy, she knows that they had a connection, that she wants to be with him, but you know, she knows that she doesn't want to be with him because she needs a man, you know. She wants to be with him because she decided to do that. It's her action. And it's amazing how these women, their actions were so disturbing, were so powerful, and at the same time were so shocking to that society that they were living, that they want to destroy them, you know. And they were these kind of birds, you know, that can go crazy and attack a city because they were attacked first, and they are this force of nature. So fantastic movies, you know. I truly, you know, feel so grateful to these amazing, sensitive directors, you know, that could present us these very rich characters, you know, female characters that are so rich because they represent much more than what they show, much more than what they they represent everything connected uh, to this part of us that is that is the representation of the female side, but at the same time the representation of the nature as itself, you know. Because we sometimes we see nature as a feminine thing, you know, like Mother Nature. And they are this, you know, this force of that comes from Mother Nature. So God, amazing movies. And both of them are classic movies. So I gotta tell you, if you haven't seen these movies, you know, girl, man, give yourself a good time and watch, you know. Yes, Flamingo Road from, oh, I gotta see this, the director, from Michael Kurtz. The movie was released in 1949, and we have a classic masterpiece from, you know, directed by Hitchcock, that is called The Birds. This movie was released in 1963. Okay, so that's my movie review. You know, okay, yeah, and I love it because I really love these movies, you know. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much, you know, for watching it. And please share my video, okay? Give me, you know, as I always, you know, I'm always saying, give me a positive reinforcement, okay? We need it, okay? And most of all, you know, I want to hear from you guys your perspectives, your feedback. Okay, so be my guest, okay, and please give me your feedback. I always read the feedbacks, you know, and it's very. I feel very grateful. Okay, so again, thank you so much, okay, for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time with another movie review, okay? Yes, talking about movies, talking about what they represent, you know, and more than this, what they can make us think in a deeper view, in a deeper perspective, in a deeper, you know, we can say in a deeper analysis, you know, because they have a lot of things to make us think differently from maybe what we were thinking in the beginning, or from the first time, you know. They can really develop our sense of looking at them with eyes wide open, you know. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye bye. See ya. Have a good life. Okay, bye.